Well, that's why we had ChatGPT.
Yeah. And it was,
I'm not a great speller.
no, I'll say this. I mean, being homeschooled, you think would be great at a lot of things and socially not. But honestly, like, yeah, like word check, word spell,
Mhm.
correction. There's some words that I just take for granted that like it's just gonna automatically fix now. Like I'm not illiterate, but like dang, like it's
I couldn't spell illiterate. I enjoy those late night phone calls.
I absolutely agree with you on that. It's funny when you've called or I've called and um it's how I mean after the first few that we had over the phone where it was like 1:30 in the morning, I was like, man, I could just keep talking. But it's a Wednesday. And we got work in the morning.
You gotta go to bed.
But and I mean, even just starting a business and you having run a business, and learning all that stuff, it's been it stuck with me when you said, this is it. This is what it means to be a business owner. At 1:30 in the morning, you're still thinking about the business and you're still thinking about, how we can improve our customer service, how we can reach out, how we can make ourselves more valuable. And yeah, it's been good. It's been I have genuinely appreciated that. Because I mean, yeah, it's kind of ominous, and I think that's probably why a lot of people don't take that risk. Um,
Owning a
yeah,
business.
yeah, because yeah, you don't get a paycheck on the 1st and the 15th. You get it when you finish the job.
You get it when you finish the job. You get it after you pay your employees. You get it
No.
after they pay you to finish the job,
Yeah. But the bills don't stop. That's the one consistent thing is that still owe your mortgage, still owe your
Yeah, for sure. The bills don't stop. But that's not the American dream right there. The bills don't stop. Maybe that's not the American dream.
it's not the American dream. That's the American reality is what it is. Gosh, yeah. Death and taxes, the only thing that's certain in life.
Absolutely,
Honest.
absolutely. So Nick, I for our viewers that are watching the show, um, I want you to tell me about where you're from. One of the big things that we do on this show is I want people to I want to kind of bring the lens in on like kind of who you are as an individual, kind of your background, like where
Yeah.
you're from, and kind of how you got to where you are now. Because I think just not exposing, but like revealing the humanity and like this is who a business owner is
Sure.
and humanizing that thing. So, just brief history, nothing crazy. Like, where are you from? What brought you to LeGrand? What's that backstory? Is it a long story?
Hey. I'll shorten it up. I so originally born and raised in L.A., Southern California. Yeah.
Mhm.
One of six siblings, second oldest, so big family. Um, Homeschooled. Uh, so yeah, it's very very interesting dynamic to live in a very large area, but kind of just be at home a lot more with my family and my siblings. But about when I was 15, my dad worked for Ford Motor Company and he traveled way too much and he was always away from the house and he just got tired of it. And so we had always come up through this area every summer to go visit up our family had a ranch up in Joseph. And so every summer we would come up through. I mean, LeGrand was not the destination. It was just kind of part of the trip. But for whatever reason, when I was 15, my dad was like, you know what? I want to get out of LA. I want to get out of the rat race. I want to just like move the family somewhere that I don't have to work as hard, be gone as much. And they looked all over the place. They looked in Portland. They looked in West Virginia. They just random places. And for whatever reason, when it all came down to it, LeGrand. And so,
They licked their finger.
all right,
They spun the
I'll
dial.
say it was more my dad. My dad, like, I felt like he really did almost kind of like, just like, I liked our trips up to Joseph. So, like, Joseph's a little small, but LeGrand's kind of the next best thing. And
Yeah, for
so,
sure.
and so we moved up here, and um, my parents, there's not this a large community of homeschoolers up here that there was in LA. And so my parents, I think, maybe felt a little bit guilty about moving us to rural Northeast Oregon from LA. And so they put us in public school in the Grand High School. And so that was a culture shock because I was,
So you went from homeschooling to public high school at LeGrand High.
yeah. So I was homeschooled up until my sophomore year. And then my parents decided, hey, I think, we want you to make friends. We want you to kind of like assimilate into the community. And so they put me and my older sister at the time, because I was 15, she was 16. They put us into a Grand high school. So I was a sophomore. And that was interesting. That was a learning curve. So, I mean, social dynamics and
For
stuff were
sure.
kind of a little foreign. I mean, came from a big family, so we had our own hierarchy, or whatever you want to call it.
Pecking order.
Yeah, yeah. And so, um, yeah, we did, obviously we assimilated into the community, and I did make friends. Did sports. Was horrible at sports, by the way.
But you did them.
I did them. Yeah, I did.
Sports did you.
Yeah, that's when I realized I really actually liked music and theater better. And I built like an athlete, but totally sucked at every sport I did.
Like an athlete, sang like an angel.
Hey, well, okay, I'm not gonna toot my own horn on that one, but I did have the solo in senior year that took us to state, but no. Um,
By the way, selfless plug right there. Get clean, everybody.
yeah, no. But no, it was interesting to sort of, and I swore that I was gonna move back to LA. I swore that like this place is just like hillbilly hell. Like there's no way that I would ever stay here. Like it's just not my cup of tea. And as the years went on, and I graduated from LeGrand High School, and I traveled actually because I didn't want to go to college. So I actually went to Australia for 6 months. I joined a band, toured in Japan, um, and that was an awesome experience. Like I was blessed to have that opportunity to go and see the world in a way. Came back, went to Eastern when I was 19, and went into theater and music. Did that for about 2 years, and just kind of got a little disenchanted with it all. Like, I mean, like I realized that it was not something I wanted to do for a like a career. I didn't want to be a music teacher. I didn't want to be on Broadway. I didn't want to move to LA and, and be kind of Hollywood and stuff like that. And so
Or the grind of living out of the van and driving from show to show and that.
being the stereotypical waiter and
Yeah.
trying to just get it, find the next gig that's gonna make it for me. Yeah, no,
And you're like singing at people who don't want to hear you sing at the table. Like maybe one of them the talents.
have you listened to my track doing the street corn? Yeah, busting. No, yeah, it's
That's a tough gig, man.
it was, yeah. Well, and I had friends, a lot of friends, especially being in the theater stuff, that they wanted to be that, and I supported all of them. It's like, but again, like you gotta have a mind for it.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have a mind for putting yourself out there. You gotta have a mind for rejection. Really, I mean, that's the huge one that a lot of people just don't handle well. Because again, if you're a big fish in a small pond, like you would be here in LeGrand, um, you forget, I think, and then you go to big city and you're like, oh wow, like I was good here in LeGrand, but like there are people who are way better, in bigger cities. The talent is much more condensed, and so yeah. So I didn't ever pursue anything in that. I did chose the Opera House, the Elgin Opera House, which is awesome. Community theater stuff. I was involved in the chamber choir here at Eastern,
Mm-hmm.
and then I transferred to Ashland, Oregon, down there in Southern Oregon. I transferred there. Tried to get into the theater program, and they were like, "Oh, you have to audition, and we only allow," because of course the Shakespeare Festival down there, and they take theater to a next level. And so I tried to audition for the choir, and like, well, if you don't speak French and German, we don't want you. And I was like, oh, like I wanted to sing, but like you guys are really like, oh, okay, this is like an exclusive kind of a thing. So it was at that point that I actually switched after 2.5 years, I switched my degree to business,
Mm-hmm.
and that just seemed to make the most logical sense. So I ended up graduating 2016 with a business degree in marketing and a minor in psychology. I know, yeah, marketing guy over here.
Wow. Hey.
Yeah, yeah. Sadly enough, never used it. I never did. I applied for several corporate jobs in Southern Oregon when I graduated, and the hardest part was they were like, okay, like, yeah, you have the degree in the field that you're applying for, but we need 5 years experience at least.
They would tell you that?
Oh yeah. Well. Oh, and well, first they would do a 3-month like job shadow, like come come in. We want to talk to my manager, their manager, the manager over here.
Unpaid.
Oh yeah, of course. It was, well, and that's where I started realizing sort of that corporate hierarchy, or like it wasn't just like you get if we like you, we like you, and like when can you start? It was like a month of just talking with people. It's like, okay, I like like the 30-minute phone call interview. I really like it, but like I need you to now talk. They have checks and balances and stuff, and so I'm like, oh, can you come in for like like 2 whole days unpaid, and just like you're gonna hang out with these people in the work environment. We're gonna see if like you mesh. And yeah, I was like, okay, like they kind of build up the ether a little bit for you, make you think like, oh yeah, finally got it. And back then, a lot of those jobs were paying $70,000-$80,000 a
Sure.
year, which even back, I was like, my first job, heck yeah. And after like 2 or 3 months, it would have been, they were always like, so we really like you. We do, and we think you'd be a great fit. But we did actually have a person come through that, they're a little bit older. They didn't say that. I don't think they can actually say that, but they implied basically like this person has a lot more real life experience in the field and so they're like, we're actually going to be going with them. And this sucked. And so,
Absolutely.
but after about three different businesses that I applied for down Southern Florida, big corporate jobs, and that was always kind of where it ended up. And I just kind of got burnt out on it, and I was like, you know what, this is dumb.
Was it like, why am I chasing this? Did you
Well, I just
where did you go? Like your burnout, like where did you go emotionally and like mentally?
I think I got a little bit frustrated and maybe resentful because I didn't understand, like, if of course the narrative was always the whole reason I didn't want to go to college. I'll be honest. Like school is not my jam. I actually like to work. I stay busy. When I was in college, I was working 2 full-time jobs, and I would rather be there at work than in class. Honestly, I'd rather be making money than just sitting there listening to somebody talk about these principles and these very ambiguous ideas that didn't directly even relate to what I was going to be doing in a job.
Well, I'll drink to that.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, yeah. It's
Fascinating.
yeah.
Absolutely fascinating. So you're working 2 jobs, you're going to school, uh, and then you were burnt out. You liked work more than the school itself. You feel like you were built for work. You feel like that's
Oh
your
yeah,
calling,
yeah.
as opposed to
Well, I mean, like
sometimes like you run into a professional student.
oh no, I know them very well. My sister-in-law, bless her heart, and actually I had a few ex-girlfriends that were like that. They were very much like they loved school. They wanted they once they got their degree, they wanted to go get their master's degree. They got their master's to go to PhD, and it was like and obviously they were very focused people. They were doing it. They weren't Van Wildering it and like trying to just like get every degree they could, but they were like when they went into their field and they enjoyed it, and I was a little bit envious of that because like I never found that when I
You
was.
were talked into going to college because of promise. Hey, you go to college.
You're going to get $30,000
You're gonna get
guaranteed above the person who doesn't have the degree, and that was I think that was that's a cultural or not cultural, that's a generational difference that I think has very much changed because everybody was being told that, especially people my age. It's kind of changed more and more with each generation, but like my parents told all of us kids like, oh, you have to go to college, you have to get a degree, and it was like I'm like, but like that's cool, like, but I I didn't enjoy school when I was in high school. I don't enjoy it now, and I mean, I look back on my college career, and I ended up getting my degree in 5.5 years, so it was kind of extended because when I switched majors, just kind of all my credits and
for sure.
they didn't all transfer. They're like, we'll give you, although 2.5 years at EOU, we'll give you like humanities credits for them, and like you still have to go take like the freshman level like writing class as a senior, um, but I did. I mean, I did end up finishing that and getting that done, which I mean, I can't be mad at it. It was an accomplishment, I guess, but it definitely did not pan out the way that I was led to believe it would.
For sure.
Which is, but again, like so I was always working.
So you were burnout. You were making these phone calls, and it was just endless phone call after phone call after phone call, and you never really got anywhere. You're burnout. What happened next?
So yeah, after that, I really kind of switched gears. I was kind of by the end of me living in Southern Oregon because I actually I
Well, your hair's not purple.
yeah. Well, interesting perspective on when you talk to people that asked you when I was in Ashland, like, where are you from? Oh, North. Oh, bunch of hillbillies,
Yeah.
rednecks.
Where's your deer? Where's your
Yeah.
coonskin?
All the hippies and
Yeah.
the weed smoking, and yeah, it's
I had to play into it.
oh yeah, no, it is a real stereotype, and it is as stereotypical as you would expect. So, yeah. So after I kind of got burnt out on just kind of I just kind of gave up. I threw my hands in the air and said, what the heck? Like I got my degree and it's kind of worthless right now because if someone doesn't hire me to get the experience, how the heck am I going to get the experience? It's kind of a weird double. Like it's kind of it's
That is the catch 22. That is, in my opinion, that a lot of folks have found themselves in that have gone through that era.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and I think college nowadays is very different. I mean, that's where I became a very big advocate for like trade schools
Mhm.
and stuff like that, because I think trade schools or even like specialized schools that are really like when I got into aviation, which we'll get into, really that refine um your whatever it is specifically that you're getting into. That's what really college should be for a lot of people. I mean, it's an experience, sure. People say, if for freshman year, you're probably not gonna, you're not probably not gonna learn a lot. You're probably not gonna even like go to a lot of your classes because you're gonna be too busy just socialize. It's a social thing, really. But yeah, I wish that we had or I should say I had just maybe gone a different route when it comes to that. But you know what? Looking back, it definitely pushed me in the direction that I'm in now in construction.
Well, for
Because
sure. Well, and I can tell uh, in the conversations we've had, you're a very educated person. You're very well spoken. You're very engaging and dynamic. And I think a lot of younger people and even younger business owners, they might struggle with that a little bit. I really worry about Gen Z. I mean, I'm an older millennial, and
you're
so
not that much older than me.
true. So we're in the same boat.
Yeah, yeah,
But what I'm getting at is I don't want to like be like, oh, Gen Z, you need to do this because like I remember when people were just like millennial hating.
yeah,
So I don't want to be like that to Gen Z, but I do think Gen Z is really going to have to work on their social skills
yeah. Well,
because
not
us.
their social media skills, their social skills. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Exactly.
Because that is I do see that, and I have two younger brothers, I have twin brother, three younger brothers, but my youngest brothers are twins, and they're 24 now. And it's so interesting for them. Like they're even a little bit detached from the Gen Z, but they have the lingo and the skibbity riz, whatever the heck. And it's like I'm like, okay, and it sounds silly, but then again, like, I'm sure every generation before is there's been some lingo. I don't know what it would have been, but
What's up?
it is hard though, because as you get older and you mature and you start kind of figuring out what it means to be an adult and whatever, like it's very easy to look at the next generation and be like, what are you doing?
For sure.
What are you doing? Like, get out of here. Like,
They don't know who they are. Like, let's be honest.
did we know who we were?
No,
I mean,
I will be the first person to
yeah.
tell anybody watching this or you come have a conversation. Like, don't come market a college to me. I'm 16.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
What?
well, and it's so, yeah, because there was only again kind of those, like you said, the career college student or the career student. Like there are people that like, and I think I was a little envious of people that could say I'm gonna be an astronaut or I'm gonna be a nurse, and like yeah, I wanted to be a dinosaur, but like, but the people that would actually do that, and like I'm like, man, like their goals were set, their course was direct, and they went for it, and I didn't, I've definitely kind of floundered's not the right word, but I definitely kind of just like I didn't have that definite, like I was like, oh, try a little this and try a little that. No, this is fun, so I won't say that I wasted a lot of time, but I think I definitely, it took me a little longer to get to where I am now.
I think it is absolutely imperative to anyone watching at this point and listening to Nick's story. I am a firm believer, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to have him on here because he's a walking testimony to you do not have to listen. If you know what you want to do, my wife, Vicky, she knew she wanted to be a nurse. Okay. She knew that and she went through and she did that. I had no idea. And guess what? I became a business owner. I did a lot of music like you did, in
Mhm.
different ways, in my
Yeah.
own ways. So anybody watching, if you don't think you want to be an astronaut or you don't know you want to be a nurse, please hear us. And you don't have to have your ducks in a row. They just all have to be going the same direction. And I love that you weren't afraid to go live life. So on that note,
Mm.
I want to hear about touring in Japan, going through Australia. I want to hear about this band experience
Yeah.
because I think most people, most astronauts or nurses, they wouldn't they were trying to fast track and do this thing
Mhm.
and they couldn't afford to go have that experience. So I
Right.
want to talk about the value of some of that.
Yeah. So it was about my getting in my senior year of high school. And of course, my parents were very pushy about, college, and they were wanting me to meet with career count. My mom was actually the career counselor with Kenny's mom, Pam. And so of course, yeah, with like always was to be like, all right, like you need to start applying for colleges and you need to start getting grants and scholarships and we need to go tour campuses.
And what are you doing today?
Oh, as guys, story of my life. Because if you're 29 years old, figure it out. No, but I was not. I was just ready to get out of high school. Let alone like, you want to jump into another school now?
Just let
Like
me go spread my wings.
I'm like, well, and again, like I will say, like even in high school, I was working a part time job at Safeway when I was 16, and then I worked in rental manufacturing for a little while, and so like I was always working even in high school, and that was kind of I think really where it started. Where I really started to realize like, man, like I actually enjoy working and I can get a paycheck. I get to like put gas in my car and I get to like, I get to go like, hang out with my friends and buy energy drinks or whatever the stupid crap I was doing when I was a
Right
kid.
away.
Yeah, yeah, more Legos, yeah. Um, as opposed to school where I'm just having to sit there till 3 o'clock in the afternoon and just can't wait to be gone. But yeah, so my parents, I was very vocal about it. I was just not very excited about college. They never said, okay, you don't have to go. They're like, okay, well, we'll just let's look at something else right now, maybe. And so they started suggesting doing a study abroad or traveling.
Oh, that was their idea.
It was, yeah. I will, and I will give them credit for that. That was I just didn't want to be in school at that moment. So I didn't. I probably honestly, if they had, I would give them all full credit for that. If they had especially my mom. My mom really um is a visionary for looking. I mean, tell she homeschooled 6 kids for 25 years. So but she obviously knew us fairly well, and so when she suggested like, well, what about like I don't know, like I'm like, oh, it's not school, so like yeah, I could do that, And so we started looking at different options, and they ended up going through an organization called YWAM, which is Youth with a Mission, and they had a lot of different campuses across the world, actually, and so there were places in Switzerland and in Germany and Africa and India and Australia, and so kind of like when she's like, would you consider going to one of these places? And
You said Japan.
no, I said Australia because I was
You
like,
said Australia.
I was like, oh, Australia, that would be okay. I see that back, Mike. Hey, David, pretty good.
I'm not gonna let Japan off the hook because
No, we're getting there. We're getting there because Australia was the stepping stone, and so I ended up committing to that for 6 months. And so I traveled down there, and it was very much it was a kind of they would call it a campus, but it was more like a commune. That's really what it was. It was kind of there was a girls and boys dorm, and there was a room with like 15 bunk beds where like 30 guys are sleeping, and but it was Australia was great. It was an awesome culture, very Western, but just like everybody walked around barefoot, and like in the malls and at the restaurants and down the street. And it was very tropical on the East Coast in Brisbane where I was staying. And
was it laid back? Is like
oh
typical laid back, like
yeah, not like Hawaii, like but like I mean
like people aren't showing up on time, laid back.
no, I think just the way that people would conduct themselves, and
Sure.
like even when they would talk to you, like it wasn't like, people weren't like strung up and just, hey, how's it going? They're like hey, yeah, how you doing? No, pretty good. Oh, I know it's good to see you, mate. It's just even the way they talk is very relaxed. Oh, I'm gonna go do this thing with the acorn. I might used to go back. And you're just like, what? What did you just say? Like you're speaking English, I think, but I don't know. And
What's syntax?
yeah, it was Kiwi as we're speaking. And so, anyways, in that process, because it was that particular campus specialized in music, art, and dance, and so there was probably I don't know 70 individuals from all over the world. Like we're talking from Europe, from Finland and Austria, and we had a person from Japan, and some from Australia, Canada, the U.S., and all these people meeting together, and you kind of like almost like a summer camp where you pick which facet you like. If you went into music, you do music, art, dance, and so I went into the music part of it, and that group of people, there are about 30 of us. We kind of they kind of paired us off into groups, and I ended up in this group that was 5 of us, and we made a band. Obviously.
What was it called?
It was called Fresh Out of.
Fresh Out of.
Yeah, and it was kind of an ambiguous name because it was kind of like fresh out of what? Fresh out of songs, fresh out of. All right, folks. Hey, it's been a great time. We're fresh out of, and we're fresh out of. It is a play on, and so, but yeah, it was cool because every single one of us was from a different country.
No way.
Yeah, so our lead singer, she was from Finland, and our lead guitarist, he was from Austria, backup guitarist was from Japan. I was a bassist, and our drummer was from Australia, and our manager was from Canada. And so it was really cool to have like all six of us be from totally different countries and just all hanging out. And so coming into Japan now, we had to pick a place that we were going to tour for 2 months, and our options were stay in Australia, just tour the East Coast, go to India, Africa, or Japan. I mean, that was like those were a lot of different options. Very broad.
Like, I mean, we're
two very more Western civilizations.
listen, we're talking mashed potatoes and steak versus some peanut sauce on some pad thai.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so
Man, I knew you did some of those things, but I'm loving that you're talking about this because I had no idea the extent. And that's why I love the show. Continue.
Yeah. So we did end up picking Japan. And it was kind of a two-part because our backup guitarist, Koji Nishimura, he was from Osaka. And so it was in our minds, we're like, it'd be really cool to like obviously like for him to share his culture and never been to Japan. That would be really, awesome. It was also just, I mean, as far as like we were a full traveling band, so we had to like take all of our gear, pack it around on the planes, on the trains, and just the availability of just access to places to play was going to be significantly higher in Japan. And so February of 2010, we flew out. So we landed in Tokyo when it was wintertime there, so it was a little bit of light snow, and so we're getting off the plane and we're unloading all of our stuff, and we get on this train, and man, I'll tell you what, I've never felt like a bull in a china shop because cultural differences, even in sort of Western culture. But like we get on the train and we're just it's like a subway, and we're all talking and we're being loud and realize
music people are very loud. For those watching, music people are extremely vocal, loud, and they're just kind of into what they're doing.
Oh man, yeah, we had no clue. Well, we were, and I will give the Japanese people a lot of credit because they are very understanding. They recognize, they look at you and be like, okay, you're not from here, so like we're not gonna hold, we might silently judge you, but like we're not gonna go out and like just point it out to you. And so, unfortunately for our translator / backup guitarist, he was Japanese, and they knew that, and so they looked at him like, you need to tell them what to do. And it's like you need to share, like better, so you need to be the one to tell them.
Okay.
So and he did get a lot of ridicule for that because we were, but that was our first experience. We had barely even been in Japan for an hour, and we're on the train being loud, obnoxious, and like he kind of nudges like, hey, so in Japan, like people don't really talk on the train, like. People put their headphones in, people read a book, people sleep. Like it's their time between work and home for them to just meditate, to process. And that's true not for any age. And in that culture, that's just how it is. And so we get on the train, and after that there was never an issue, obviously.
Sure.
We all learned to just kind of
just
plug in. And if we want to talk about kind of whisper really quiet, Now, so that was kind of our first hour in Japan. And then of course, going into a public restroom and realizing what a squatty potty was.
Yes.
That's that not even to go into detail on that. But yeah, so that was kind of interesting, realizing that the stalls had no toilets. And then we got to where we were staying, which was, only like a few blocks from like sort of the main downtown Tokyo. And it was weird because it was February, it was cold, and they don't have central heat or central air there because they are very efficient. 180 million people in a country the size of California. So like half the U.S. population living in California, it's tight quarters for sure. And so
absolutely.
So they it was cold. It was very cold, I remember, and they had little propane heaters in each room. And so depending on what
propane.
Natural gas. Natural gas.
I was gonna say you would have suffocated.
Well, maybe I did a little bit. Natural gas, and so but they had each like little buddy heater basically in each room, and you only use that heater if you were in there. The rest of the house just froze over basically, and so
really?
And so like all the hall, they insulated their walls very well, so the plumbing didn't freeze, but It was like when you go the traditional, first of all, also 2 months of sleeping on the floor. They had no beds, like they sleep on the floor with those straw mats and stuff like that. So that was an interesting thing to do.
Really?
Yeah,
That's mainstream.
yeah.
That's
I mean, there were some that you would, but yeah, very traditionally we slept on just large mats on the floor. Which is, I mean, that's a whole nother, that just right there, it's very culturally different.
absolutely.
And so, but yeah, so we were, we were staying at this hostel basically. And I just remember like, you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and the rooms get toasty. They're warm, they're comfortable. You open your little sliding door and you go down the hallway and you just see your breath and it's freezing cold. You always wore socks because they're all hardwood floors.
Yeah.
And you go to the bathroom and the bathroom's not heated, but technology in Japan is very advanced. And so they were all bidets. They were all heated toilet seats. So you're sitting in this freezing room, but you're like, okay, this is comfortable. But like, again, it was a total, again, just those little small things that were
Sure.
very different from here.
Well, I mean, and I'm sure you didn't see any Keystone cans lying on the side of the road.
No, actually they had they were very efficient in their garbage disposal.
Yeah.
So when you bought, like, they had Starbucks, McDonald's and all the other things. When you bought something at a vendor, they don't have public trash cans. You own the garbage that you buy and you take it home with you to recycle or yeah, no, because again, it's such a small space for so many people. They can't afford to just have public waste kind of a thing. And
I
so
mean,
they had at each home, the home we even were staying at, no less than 12 trash cans. Like, and so it's like they broke down recycling to its aluminum here. And you had to pull the labels off the aluminum can.
yeah.
You had to cut open the milk cartons and wash them out, open them up and put those into a bin.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to do all the work to separate each individual item into its rightful category. And that was, I mean, that took a little bit of getting used to for a minute because of course we just come from Australia where it's like, throw it all in, Mike, don't even worry about recycling. And yeah, so that was interesting. And
So how long were you in Japan then?
so I was in Japan for 2 months. We spent a week and a half in Tokyo. We got to go through, we got to go through all their downtown areas, the cities, the skyscrapers. And then after a week and a half, and we played at different venues. We even just would go to like, large parks and different places. And nobody obviously knew who we were, but of course in Japanese culture, to be tall or to have blonde hair or something that's not 5'5", like you stand out.
Interesting.
And especially, I mean, there were a lot of like there were Westerners there, I guess, but most of them were older businessmen and such. And so, like, for them to see a group of like 6 people, young Westerners walking around, like they thought we were famous. Like they didn't even know who we were, but people wanted to take pictures with us. It was kind of like we got approached at one point asking if we like wanted to go like work for Abercrombie and Fitch just because we were like not from the culture. Like it was weird, and it was just something you don't you take for granted when you're like, I'm just another person here that's blends in with the group. But like when you're there,
Yeah.
oh no, they were like. When I was standing at 6 foot tall and like, it's kind of nice. You can kind of see over everybody. Or our lead singer from Finland, Sonia, she had blonde hair. So like, that's like, you could spot her in a crowd of like 100,000 people. Cause she's like, okay, boop, there she is.
Yeah, because of her blonde hair.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah, so we were in Tokyo for a week and a half. We went to Osaka, sort of middle Japan. And that's where our backup guitarist Koji was from. And so that was kind of his stomping ground. I would say a little more agricultural,
Sure.
from where we just came from. And so, and we stayed at his local church there. And we played at some different venues. And we actually did sing karaoke in Japan.
Was it? Did you sing Japanese?
No.
English.
I think I'm turning Japanese. That's what he's saying. But no. No, we had to sing traditional karaoke, go into the little private. It's just a private room. I mean, it's not a performance like you go to a bar here and sing in front of strangers. You go into a private room with your friends
and have fun.
and you're just hamming it up. So it'd be like, it's no different than like going over to your friend's house and having a karaoke session, literally.
Gotcha.
And they just they serve you drinks and stuff. And so, yeah. And so we were there for about a month in Osaka.
Yeah.
Got to go to some college campuses. We went to Universal Studios, actually.
In Japan.
in Japan. Yeah, had to do that. And yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, I could never forget, there was a group of like 30 college age Japanese gals and all in Spider-Man onesies. And they just come running up to us and they're like, and of course our translators having to translate, our backup guitarist is translating for us. He says like, it's like, we're like, what's going on? Like they're like all excited and they're asking like they want to take a picture with you guys. It's like, or with us. And it's like who do they think we are? Like they're like, they don't care. It's like, kind of like the new face. Like, they don't see a lot of young, white people, I guess. And so, yeah, we just took a group picture with them and they were all excited. They ran off. I was like, man, this is weird. Like, we're a band, right? And it kind of added a little bit of an element that you would not expect for somebody who's just like, we're just kind of, casual.
They were just happy and excited that you guys were there and doing your thing. How
Yeah.
cool is that? How cool is that? I love that.
But there's a lot of pressure on the Japanese that the Japanese put on themselves because they kind of like, I don't know why they feel like people in Western culture are just beautiful. Probably because that's all they ever see in movies. It's like, oh, like why, like we're beautiful and we're all attractive and successful and like the American dream, And so a lot of people in Japanese culture like felt like they put a lot of pressure on, like they had to like the men, because divorce was never a thing in Japan, it just isn't. And so, but like the men would work very hard, like it's like 7 a.m. till 11 o'clock at night, just trying to provide for the family, trying to in a way like obtain that that standard. And I think also, of course, being successful, it has a huge honor and respect in your family. And but unfortunately, actually, on a more darker note, like suicide was a pretty big thing.
Oh, really?
People were, I mean, it was something that like we didn't realize until one day we're at the waiting for the train. And all I remember is like they had the little reader boards and they just had like a red notice on them. And we were asking our translator, like, what does that say? He's like, oh, like somebody jumped in front of a train. And I'm just like, okay. And he's like, but then from then on for the next 2 months, anytime we'd see him, I was like, again, like, because there's just so much pressure that is put on, a lot of the working class that it's just like, it kind of burns you out.
Sure.
And it affects your marriage and it affects your family. And if divorce isn't a thing and you can't just like leave, you're like, all right, well. So anyways, that's a very, very, very morbid part of that. But no, it's, no, the culture there, I mean, they're very put together.
Sure.
They're very organized. Obviously you have to be, everything was built up. It wasn't built out. So of course, watching these parking garages, very literally like you see in like Tokyo Drift or something, they have this like little, like you go into like a dry cleaner and they just kind of like rotate your car around and figure out which one it is, or they had like, they came out of the ground, you like park your car and like drop it back into the ground. Like, yeah, it was interesting for sure.
So bring me now to the point. There's so many side tangents in a future episode. I want to talk about I want to talk about the music you played. I want to talk about certain games. Like I want to.
It wasn't as good as you think. I mean, it was good. It was like we did a lot of pop rock stuff.
But I want to go into some of that in a different show. But I want to fast forward to where you are now. Like that's a huge part of and you have these experiences and that's who you are.
Yeah.
And I traveled abroad because school really wasn't my thing, and I felt like I had to do school because like people told me to, but I traveled abroad. Now you're back.
Yeah.
And we fast forward to where you are now, and I want to tell this quick little story about you, and then maybe that'll segue a little bit.
Okay.
So transitions everything.
Yeah.
So the first time I remember meeting Nick, I had walked into Benchwarmers to have a beverage and lunch, and I was trying to finish my shred shed at the time.
Right, yeah.
And you remember this.
Oh, I do.
So you and Gage were at Benchwarmers finishing up lunch. I walked in, and I was dealing with another company, and they were giving me kind of a runaround, and I was having a bad experience with, I needed it insulated.
Right.
I had the electrical ran, I had my Ethernet ran.
Yeah, you had it all dialed in, and you were right at that point of being...
And the stretches my music studio at home, and I was like, I need insulation. I thought I wanted blow-in insulation, foam, because I wanted to keep bugs out, and blah, blah, blah. And so then I met you, and because I knew Gage from Old West, and Gage and Tyler Kennan had actually done some work for Ad Dad and helped us hang screens.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did.
But they took a wall out at the old building and fixed the floor. And anyway, so I knew Gage, so I came over to say hi, and you were sitting with Gage.
Right.
And I just remember you going, no, wait a minute. What are you doing? I said, well, I want insulation. And you were like, well, we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's kind of where our relationship really started.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, you're like, well, we could do it for this much. I was like, that's beautiful. That's what I can
Mm-hmm.
do. That's
Mm-hmm.
great.
It's gonna be because we went with fiberglass instead of the blow-in,
That's right.
and it was gonna be cheaper, but it was also gonna meet your deadlines. I think, and that was
Mhm.
a big part where you're like,
I got to get moved in.
yeah,
Like,
you gotta get this running, and so
there's music I got to make.
yeah, no, that was a well, what I really appreciated because I mean, genuinely, that was actually that was our first job, like
Officially.
like officially, yeah, because we had just started D&M contracting, and like we were still working for our previous employer, but I was in the process of getting I had just gotten the CCB, we were licensed and bonded, and so we were kind of like we didn't want to just jump ship from our stable income into being a self-employed without having at least a little bit of business already generated. And so yeah, you were kind of our just our you kind of and just yeah, you walked in, and I remember Gage being like, hey, I know, like we worked with him,
Yeah.
had that, and he made the introduction, and then you were kind of you sat down with us, and we had a beer, and you were talking about some of the things that you were trying to accomplish. And it was me like, oh yeah, that's in my wheelhouse, because I mean, construction's been something now I've been doing for, gosh, almost 10 years. 8 years. Okay, about 8 years. Yeah. So
Close.
yeah,
That's as long as I've had children in diapers.
yeah. Well, that's yeah.
You've been fixing and building things as long as I've been wiping butts.
Well, yeah. I mean, I will. First of all, I was taking things apart and putting it back together when I was like 5, but actually taking them apart, I don't know that I was.
Yeah,
I was
for
never
for
successful.
get it.
There's always a spring that would fly out the side of
The
some.
Buzz Lightyear that not
Oh yeah.
go back to.
Oh yeah. No. Well, I would try to. I'd force it together, and then I'd always have 3 extra screws, and just built it more efficiently than the previous guys. So
We don't need them.
yeah.
Yeah. So the shred shed, man, I got to tell you, that place has been so amazing. And the you guys, I remember it was in November when you guys. It was, I think, October, November. It was before Christmas, and so like the weather was changing. It was October, November ish, or like
Mm.
Christmas. It was somewhere in there,
Yeah.
and it was
It was
cold.
it was getting cold for sure.
But these guys, you guys would clock out of your day job. You'd show up at my place at
Mhm.
6 p.m. and you'd work your butts off till like 11 o'clock. And I'd come out there and harass you guys, and we'd like listen to music. I think I did more damage. Hey, so why would you do it that way? Or why are you doing this? And like,
Hey, I want to show you this really great band that I just heard. It's just if you play DJ for us for sure.
yeah.
That was
But it was so much fun, man. And you guys, the Shred Shed would not be what it is today. And I love that you and Gage are a part of
oh yeah.
helping build the Shred Shed. It's such an escape for me, and it's such a place of where I get to make music and I get to hang out with people who I want to make music with. And we've had band rehearsals, and
Yeah.
and without you guys, that couldn't have happened. And so, man, I'm so appreciative of you and Gage's work on it.
Well, and I appreciate that you trusted us. You allowed us to, in a way, because like you knew kind of what you wanted. You knew it needed to be insulated. You knew you didn't want drywall for sure on the walls.
No.
And
I want to be able to screw something wherever.
yeah, and so we decided on plywood. But we wanted to obviously make it more finished, than that. And so when we started going kind of with the sort of the different like designs of sort of offsetting and kind of making this like different patterns on the walls, and you're like, oh yeah, love that totally. And I'm like, I mean, like I can conceptualize and I can think about that, and I can be like, yeah, like, I think it's gonna look good, but I don't know if that's exactly what you wanted. And you're like, no, I trust you. I think this is gonna look good. And sure enough, within the first couple of sheets we put up, you're like, yep, that's exactly it.
That's
That's
it.
what I want. And I was like, that was really kind of a pivotal moment for us. Again, still just kind of for our first venture out and our first client. And for you to just be very like, yeah, that's like, gosh, like so, and I could see you getting excited in that ether of being like it's coming together. Like you already, I mean, heck, you already had stuff kind of half moved in, like as we were just finishing it.
Dude,
So.
I had to constantly move speakers out so that you guys could work, because I would like
Yeah.
go out there and I've got, it's like when I have more pictures of the Shred Shed being insulated than my children. That's terrible.
Wow.
Actually, that's a joke. That's a joke. That's not for real. My wife takes
Insulation is not that exciting, but yeah.
No, it was great, man. And you guys need to come out and God, man, I was
Look,
just I think we're just going. I was going through the music, dude. I've written so there, and like I've collabed with so many people. We just gotta have a listening party.
well. First of all, we have, but it was like, gosh, I think a year and a half ago, maybe, I
It's been
think.
too long.
I've only been out there, I think, once now since we finished it, when it was actually like adorned in all of its glory.
It's
Now,
like on the Mach 7 version of how I have it laid out. It's great now. It's not gonna move very much right now.
that's good. Well, I know, because yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoy,
Yeah.
because of course the conversation goes from what you're doing right now to who you're working with to potential, and of course Shred Shed is very much, it's less about like ad dad and a lot more about like Casey doing his tapping on his keyboard, and then like which at first is I was just that's you were a very very talented
Thank
musician.
you. Appreciate that.
So
Yeah, so, you've got the contracting business,
yes,
D&M Contracting.
yes, D&M
We
contracting.
we have to talk about that. So it was born, it was birthed, it's you and Gage doing this together,
Yep, yep.
and now you have you in the last how long has it been? It's
It's
been
been a year and a half now. We officially started April of 23, I think. So we're about a year and a half in now.
and so we actually did logo design for you.
We did. Oh yeah, no, you guys have been phenomenal at that. I mean, again, just the process of getting your business license, especially whatever you go into. Obviously, in construction, we have CCB, so we have to go through the contracting board in Portland and Salem and take tests. And I got to get we got to get licensed and bonded, and we have to make sure we've got we got a work phone, and we have to yeah. First thing most people would go to is like a business card, and I yeah, you came through right there where you offered us 3 different designs, and we put it up on a poll on Facebook, and the one we went with now and the one we have is the one that everybody's like, it's clean, it's simple,
That's the one.
and it was great, and I appreciate it, because I'm not a graphic designer. Like I would I could go on Vistaprint and get some like clip art and just draw it together probably, but it would just be very generic and simple, and you definitely created a very unique, clear logo for us, which I love, and the colors, and it's been great because it's really now fast forward a year and a half to go to businesses everywhere, whether it's Ace or Miller's or Carpet One.
There they are.
Yeah, and Lawrence's Auto Body. Like, I mean, seeing your business card right there on their counter is kind of like it really there is something, this dopamine kind of release that you get when you're kind of like, wow, like this is cool, like this is real, like this is like
It's real.
yeah, like and to have that sort of professional presence that I think sometimes is difficult to obtain, because I mean nobody's a unless you're like in it, like like you for marketing like you are, not everything's like, oh, word of mouth, right? That's my marketing strategy. It's just like, and that is important, but I think there's something to be said about that visual representation
Absolutely.
that people like. I mean, we've gotten business from people that like, it's not just people we know or know somebody else that knows somebody. It's like, hey, I saw your business card. Just happened to be walking in the Millers to buy a 2x4, and I saw your business card, and like, do you guys do drywall? Like, or do you do flooring? And just those little I don't know, just that business opportunity that's presented in
Absolutely.
having that, and then of course, then the website you guys built for us, which is
Well,
great.
we got to do a shout out to Kenny for that one.
Oh no, yeah, Kenny Dodds, everyone. If you need a website designed, go to Kenny Dodds here at the Ad Dad. Exceptional work, easy to work with. Like he's maybe not the greatest speller, just like that, but anything that we found, he corrected very quickly.
Yeah, well, that's why we had ChatGPT.
Yeah, and it was.
I'm not a great speller.
No, I'll say this. I mean, being homeschooled, you think would be great at a lot of things, and socially not. But honestly, like, yeah, like word check, word spell, correction. There's some words that I just take for granted that like it's just gonna automatically fix now. Like, I mean, like I'm not illiterate, but like, dang, like it's
I couldn't spell illiterate. It would work. It would work.
I couldn't spell maintenance when I was a maintenance technician because I was like MAINTEANSE. I don't, yeah, and then I'd always mix one up, I before E except after C,
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So
My poor 8-year-old who's going through second grade and bringing these spelling words home. I'm like, bro, I don't know why it does that. You're just gonna have to memorize.
how do you spell philanthropy? Like, I don't. Is that PH? Is that F? I don't know. Like,
MISSISSIPP.
yeah. See, no. Well, first that's the best way I learn. If you put it to music, like I can't. I'm a visual learner, so like show me, let me do it with my hands. I can't conceptualize. I'm a visual. I got to draw it out. Like you like. So when you do this 2x4 with this hanger, and they're just talking to you. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to draw this picture in my head. Like I don't get it. All right. But no, yeah, like with music, yeah, like if I had to study for a test, like I was always just like 1, 2, and then buckle my shoe, 3, 4, and like I was like, and to this day, I remember things from when I was like 4 years old. That like just those like like that's how I learned like Spanish on cassette tapes driving in my parents' Taurus station wagon in L.A. Like the alphabet is easy to learn. It's like
I am a bill upon
oh yeah,
hill.
I know the Bill of Rights because of Schoolhouse Rock. Yeah, we the people.
And right now, the Gen Z is going to give us a blank stare.
They're gonna be like Schoolhouse Rock. Is that with like Jack Black?
Yeah, isn't he old?
Well, that's School of Rock, but yeah,
Oh, it's too much fun, man.
good stuff. Yeah.
So DNM contracting.
Yep.
I want you to just go into what it is you guys do, quick and dirty, not the long story. Like, what are you guys doing? Who are you serving? And what is DNM?
So yeah, so D&M contracting is we do pretty much anything, I would say. Now that's a very broad stroke, but like obviously things like electrical, plumbing, HVAC that we would have to have additional certificates we don't do. But we have subcontractors that we work with. And so yeah, we do, I mean, we'll do drywall and siding and fencing and roofing and flooring, remodels, tile work,
and it's things that, like, I think contractors, if I can go off the rails a little bit here, I think everyone has a stereotype. Car salesman, stereotype.
Yeah.
Guy selling advertising, stereotype.
Sure.
White guy wearing a, I'm just kidding. I'm not going there, sir.
Or a Carhartt vest. No, yeah.
Stereotype.
Right.
Contractors, it's like, man, we call them, we never get a call back.
Yeah.
Huge stereotype there. And if they do get a call back, it's like too small of a job. And like, I need this done.
Well,
who the heck can we call to get it done?
It sucks that that's even a stereotype, but it is true. I having only been in like having done construction for 8 years, working for someone, and then now in the last year and a half working for myself with my business partner Gage. It has been interesting to go, and again, like it's two guys in a truck basically, right? When we first started, and so like we're not big time in it at this point, which is fine. Like, I think there's kind of a niche for each person. And, you get to, sure, I'd love to get to a place with 5 employees and, maybe taking on $50,000 or $100,000 jobs, every month. But
how many shred sheds? How many dad foyers? Because we need buildings. How many, Gage, I need like 3 walls and this done, or like we need to move these stairs.
If it's like, if it's like a $5,000 to $10,000 job, if you're an established contractor with a fairly large employee or base, $5,000 to $10,000 is nothing, first of all. And it's unfortunate because I think those are the projects, the $2,500 handyman, like paint a couple bedrooms, switch a couple of light fixtures or whatever. Those people can fall to the wayside because it's nothing, slim pickings kind of a thing. And so,
but the need of the customer is still very important.
Oh, it is. No, it is. And I think, it's kind of something we've learned where it's like, because our slogan is kind of, builders who call, builders who care. And that was something that I kind of collaborated with Gage on, because it was like, man, if there's one thing that kind of rings true for a lot of the clients that we've done business with, it was like, they're like, oh, you called back. Like, they were shocked. They're like, we left you a voicemail, or we texted you, or we sent an email, and you actually responded. And not only did you respond, you showed up. And not only you show up, but you actually you can show up, but yeah, we'll get you a bid, in a week or so. And then, and like, oh, you actually got us a bid. And like, they're like, okay, like, when can you start? And it's like, oh, you actually gave us a day. And like, and it's not that other contractors don't do that, but a lot of times they are so busy. And they're like, yeah, like, okay, well, yeah, like, we'd be happy to do that for you, but it's going to be 2 years.
A 2-year wait.
2 years. And but I will say, that I would love to be in that position of like having so much work.
Sure.
That I can guarantee my existence, my stability of my business for 2 years.
But how amazing is it though that you're able to actually, you're helping people who actually, they have these needs.
Yeah.
When we moved in here, we needed these walls.
Right.
We needed,
Well, yeah, because if you don't have a place to do your business, then you're losing money. And you can't even complete the work that you've already started.
And I can't do that. I don't know how
No,
to
you
do that.
could.
I
You
mean,
could.
yeah,
It would. It would be. It'd be fun to watch.
I
But
I ain't doing that.
you could do it. It would just take you a little bit longer. That's all I'll say. I mean, anyone can learn how to do this stuff. It's the technicality and the precision, and really, I think a lot of people are like, well, I could paint my kitchen. I don't. Why would I need a contractor? You absolutely could. Um, but it's like, but how much time is that going to take you? And because everyone time is money, and if it takes you a month, and it would take somebody 2 days, you know, you might save money by not having to pay a contractor, but what's your time worth?
Absolutely.
I mean, your time isn't free,
Absolutely.
and that's time with your family, that's time from your job, that's time from sleeping, whatever it is, so.
Absolutely. I think you and I had that conversation very early on when you were talking about, or at, at the next steps of the business. And
Mhm.
I was like, look, I hate spreadsheets. It looks like a bunch of black and a bunch of white. Get a great accountant. I have a great
Yes.
accountant. You're an associate.
Yep.
Megan and her team.
Oh no, Megan is awesome. I love her. She's been great. She's been and she keeps it very simple because of course we're like, I mean, like when I worked for somebody else, my taxes were like, here's your W-2, here's your W-4,
Yeah.
and like for her, she's just like she tells you exactly what you need, and she's very easy to work with, simple. She breaks it down for you. A lot of times as a new business owner, you feel like you're kind of like some toddler is like, what if I do this? What if I do that? Can I do this? And she's like, you don't even need to worry about
Bless
it.
your heart.
Yeah, oh, son, you'll learn. You'll learn. Like, so, like, if I get paid, like, do I have to? He's like, yeah, no, don't worry. Just let me know, and I'll help you through that. So,
I always, every time I'd get an email or I'd go in and talk to Megan, I always felt like I was getting called into the principal's office
so yeah,
because she goes,
you didn't file that 1045.
and she go, Casey, I know what you were trying to do. You can't do that. We have to
But
do
why?
that. I was like, okay. I
Yeah.
told her that to her face. I was like, Megan, why do I feel like I'm at the principal's office?
No, or the dentist. They're like, you haven't been flossing your teeth again, have you? Like, "No, but I flossed them today for the first time in a month. No,
Get
God.
a great accountant.
Yes,
Please
yes,
save everyone pain, even the IRS.
yeah.
But so that's great, man. D&M Contracting, it's been an amazing experience to have those late night phone calls with you, to see you engage, grow, to watch D&M Contracting unfold, and to be a part of that beginning history, man. Like it's been fun to watch.
Well, I mean, literally, like the beginning of the D&M. Absolutely, like you were our first client, and I really appreciate the fact that you, as a small business owner in this community, coming alongside us and offering all of this wisdom and this trial and error that you kind of had to go through yourself, and the growing pains and the goofs, that we all make, and because one of the things that really stuck with me is like, you're like, there's only so many hours in the day, and that really, I mean, it's so true, and it's something that, yeah, I do wish there was more hours in the day, because
I was right.
you were, I was, but it's like, I mean, time management and really trying to capitalize on being as productive as you can while not burning yourself out, right? And of course not cutting into your time with your family and the people that are important to you, because it can be very easy to turn this into a 7-day a week, 12-hour a day. There is no lack of work. I mean, that is something that it's a blessing and a curse in a way, because it's a blessing because of course you're always going to be productive and stay busy, but at the same time, there's so many people that need things done that it's like, okay, like at a certain point I have to say no.
Absolutely.
Or you have to. I mean, you have, and I don't like that, because like I want to help people, and that's something really like has always been true. Like I genuinely I like helping solve problems and helping people find a solution, and that goes even maybe deeper than just construction and building, but just like this is like with your stretch. It's like you have a need, and you have a space, and we need to figure out how that we can accommodate the timeline and the budget and just that space to make sure that it is what you need in order to do what you need to do.
And you guys nailed it.
I mean,
you guys nailed it.
I'm not gonna lie. Having never done that particular style of interior design. I've never been a pessimist about anything. Especially, I mean, actually, that's not true. It's usually after the fact. You do the job, and you're like, gosh, that looks like crap.
I think it looks great.
No. I'm not talking about your spreadsheet. I'm just talking. That's very and that's very few and far between. But no, I mean, like I was thrilled with how that turned out, and working with you and you taking it upon yourself to being like, hey, like, all right, you guys just do this, and then I'm gonna do all the lights and I'll get all the things and yeah, and and working with you, be like, hey, like we got to try to figure out how to work around this or work around that, or this is gonna be this is gonna look a little weird because of just that the way it's set up, and you'll be like, oh, that's cool. Like, oh, we got it.
It's great.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
oh,
It's like it's gonna have all just really warm light and really low light. Like it's all low light anyway.
yeah. No, that was a lot. That was a great first experience. Really a nice little intro into being a business owner, and the fact that obviously through that, here we are.
Yeah, and the friendship and the
Oh,
relationship. Like I've really appreciated that.
yeah,
It's not often you make a new friend every day, or
yeah. Well, and so somebody that you can talk to until 1:30 in the morning, and
that's where
it's that continuous conversation of. I mean, that's why this. I mean, when you asked who would be on your show, it was like, okay, so we're just gonna kind of do what we always do,
yeah. No,
and
we
they
should have just been on the phone.
I mean, we
This is just like two
hard
cameras.
hard to see the emotion. Yeah,
Yeah, it's we'll put a camera at your place. We'll put a camera in my place.
we'll just do a Zoom call and record it. It's not.
Yeah, boy, I think I would have choked on the quality of Zoom. Don't get me started on that.
No, nope.
But anyway, Nick, man, we could keep going.
Oh, I know.
We could keep going for hours and hours.
Well, we will in the future.
And we will. There's definitely more to talk about. There's so many things I want to talk to you about. But it has been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
If you have anything contracting wise, whatever it is, D&M Contracting, you can find them online.
Yeah.
If you can't find them online because you're not tech savvy, come down to the Ad Dad. We'll show you how to get a hold of them.
Yeah.
But Nick, thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for having me. This has been awesome, and I love what you've done with the place.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So anyway, till next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's sign off.